Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and of course, my co-host here, C Money. We have an absolutely outstanding 70 minutes for you. We're talking Obsidian Entertainment. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They apparently are working on a third game behind the already hard at work that they're doing for Avowed and, of course, the Outer Worlds 2. There's some talk about what that game is going to be, what it could be, what we hope it's going to be. We will get into that second half of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Man, Sony's having a hard time. They are a bit behind the eight ball. Obviously, if you just look at what has happened the last 18 to 24 months, it has been one failure after another. They've had very few successes. Depending on where you rank Spider-Man 2, I really enjoyed it. A lot of people thought it was very samey. Fine, if that's what you thought. And if you look at their roadmap, well, I hate to say it, folks, there isn't any. There's no roadmap. There's no identity. Are they a first-person, story-driven, single-player, movie-like studio? I don't know. Are they a gas game studio? And if they are, well, they're failing at that too. Obviously, this stems from what's going on with Bungie. A big, big heartfelt sigh goes out to all 220 people that lost their jobs yesterday in a very public, very ugly way of doing business. As a matter of fact, some of the minutia is starting to make its way to social media. Some people, actual employees, didn't know, were not notified by Bungie. They found out through social media, which is pretty gross. I'm going to be honest with you there. A little unprofessional, in my opinion. Again, of course, some of the stuff that have come out with Pete Parsons, who was the studio head, about him spending $2.3 million of that money that they got from Sony on expensive and classic cars. And again, that's not certainly a good look. I mean, he took the bag. He's obviously running. We heard from Jeff Grubb yesterday, who put it out in a tweet that he does that he believes that Herman Hulst is now running that studio. Again, it's been one bad move after another for Sony. And if you look at what Team Green is doing, it is honestly, folks, two different companies going in two very distinctive directions. Xbox seems to be, even if they're down, with the reports of 42% console sales in decline, they're making money on every other aspect. Whereas Sony, well, we don't know what Sony's numbers are. They were down last quarter. They weren't as high as Xbox, but they were close. And I would imagine that they're going to be somewhere in the 30 percentile range next week when their numbers come to fruition in regards to sales of the PS5. And when you take that, you take what's going on with the PlayStation VR 2.0 having to do a $200 price cut because obviously thing isn't selling. And again, you're seeing some stories out there where it's a 2,000% increase in sales. Well, yeah, they dropped it $200. Obviously, it wasn't worth it at $549 or $599, so they dropped it $200. Again, if you did buy it, that's great. I did not. I chose not to, simply because a lot of the games that I owned were not going to be backwards compatible. And you know what? Speaking of PlayStation VR 2.0, I kind of want to make a little bit of a correction. Now, last night when I was talking about it regarding the $200 price reduction and how you were going to actually hook it up to your PC in order to use it, besides buying the $60 peripheral, I had made a statement where originally you were going to need a PlayStation 5. Well, I want to give a shout out to Stone King. Stone King had DM'd me and had confirmed for me. So, of course, when I get it wrong, folks, I got to get out in front and let you know that I did get it wrong and that I have the proper information. So I want to give a shout out to Stone King for it. for actually letting me know. And there is, according to him, and I have the app in front of me, it's a PlayStation VR 2.0 app that you can get on Steam. It is going to be available to download August 6th, 2024. So you can, of course, enjoy your new PlayStation VR 2.0 on your PC, minus some of the features that are only available on the PS5. So again, shout out to Stone King for giving me the heads up. C Money had to step away for a hot second. But we will get him back in here. We'll do his introduction, and of course, we'll continue the conversation. But, gentlemen, ladies, let's get into the big story. Obviously, you saw through the thumbnail. And this is a personal thing. This is a hopes and dream thing for Boom. Besides Banjo, besides Killer Instinct 2, besides potentially getting a kart racer from Playground Games' newly formed studio, these are all the hopes and dreams of poor little Boomstick. But another dream that I've had, that I've consistently asked for, and I think you folks will admit this is something that needs to happen. Well, listen, Fallout is a phenomenal series. It is a series that a lot of us love. A lot of us have put hundreds, if not thousands, of hours into it. You go all the way back to Fallout 1 and 2, which I didn't play because they were on PC. And again, those are like ARPGs or asymmetric RPGs, just not my bag. But FPS RPGs, well, that's my thing. So I played the heck out of Fallout 3. Really enjoyed it. Over 300 hours, beat every DLC, got almost all the achievements. Played Fallout 4, enjoyed it, didn't love it as much as 3. There is one particular Fallout game that comes to mind that should get you excited. And I'm not sure if it does or it doesn't, but it does for me. That is Fallout New Vegas. In my opinion, the best Fallout of the series. Now, I know, Todd Howard, if you're listening, brother, I apologize. Don't get in your feels. You make great games. We know you do. We love them. But if I had to pick between the children, the one that gets the #1 award is going to be Fallout New Vegas. So what we have heard, and now it's starting to come out of the woodworks, and of course I want to give credit where credit is due, ladies and gentlemen. Clobrio, he is the pinnacle of Xbox fandom. He has not only a great talent for making graphs and graphics for us YouTubers and content creators to use, but he puts them out on the socials to enjoy for everybody. And he put out a tweet that has me very excited. He says this, ladies and gentlemen: Obsidian Entertainment is now working on an unannounced title. The studio is currently known to be working on The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed. The Grounded team comes to mind as possibly working on what is next for the IP. So this is a third game. I know some people out there, even some in the chat, already say, well, Boom, it's probably Grounded 2. I don't think so. I'm going to be honest. I don't think so. I think that when you look, and again, let's just put some breadcrumbs down, folks. All right? Let's just go all the way back to hours before the Fallout TV series releases, right? Fallout TV series on Prime comes out, and we saw some previews. We saw some screeners. We've seen some screenshots, and there was a lot of buzz. What I don't think Bethesda or Xbox and Microsoft were expecting was that they, as it stands, 80 plus million viewers watched that series. I think it's sitting at the #1 or #2 spot for Amazon all time. And it really did take the world by storm. It took the gaming world by storm, so much so that even in some top 10s for a couple of months, you saw Fallout 4, you saw Fallout 3, Fallout 76 got a huge shot in the arm, even though it's not for me. And I know some people are like, hey, Boom, you got to try it. It's more like the single player than it is the multiplayer or the MMO. There's just not enough time in the day. Just not to get into an MMO. But I'm very happy for anyone that is currently enjoying it, which is awesome. And now we have heard as soon as a couple of months, a couple of years ago, even much as last year, the head of Obsidian said they would love another shot at the Fallout series. So here's where I try to play detective. Now, whether I win or fail is really up to you folks. Obsidian already has a lot on their plate, right? They're working on Avowed. They're continuing updating Grounded, right? That's consistently getting updates. You have the Outer Worlds 2 they're working on. Now they have a lot of teams. It's a pretty sizable studio. We know that Bethesda is currently like neck deep in Starfield updates, right? They're making and releasing Shattered Space later this year. It's already leaked that they already have and they're working on the next DLC for 2025. We know that they're hard at work finishing up, and I would imagine, doing last minute touches on Indiana Jones. And of course, Elder Scrolls, the next Elder Scrolls, which is expected to potentially be a launch title for the next Xbox and Xbox handheld. Where do they have the time to do another Fallout? Because Fallout 5, if you just let's just do some simple mathematics here. If for shits and giggles that Bethesda proper, they're working on DLCs, 2 DLCs for Starfield. They're working on consistent updates. The next big update with the land vehicles is coming. We know that they're hard at work on the next Elder Scrolls. That's expected. And again, this is just some hypotheticals, expected to potentially release as a launch title for the next Xbox. If we're just being fair, whatever game that they're working on is going to take 5 years. So if 2026 is the next launch for a new hardware or a pair of pieces of hardware, one a handheld, one a home console for Xbox, and that's 2026. And Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to be a launch title or launch in that year. That's 2026. Is it going to be 5 years before we get Fallout 5? Am I going to be 61 years old playing the next Fallout? That's pretty ridiculous, right? Honestly, it just seems a little far-fetched. So where my mind goes is, well, Obsidian, yeah, they're working on a couple of games. They're updating Grounded, they're working on Avowed, they're working on the Outer Worlds 2. They're a pretty sizable studio. They want to work. They want to work on a new Fallout or potentially go back to a Fallout that they know and love. And that is Fallout New Vegas. I think that Fallout New Vegas 2 is in the cards. And I think just based on what the 2 studios that are involved in Fallout or have been involved in Fallout, they're a little bit stacked right now. I think even I would even dare say that Bethesda is even more stacked than Obsidian. I don't know, folks. Well, I mean, listen, let me go to the chat, and while we wait for C Money to get back over here, and see what you think. I mean, there he is, C Money. Welcome back, brother. How's that?
Oh, sorry, man. Work is
listen.
work is
Life
wild.
is life, brother. So listen, I did this whole monologue about Obsidian potentially having a new game in the works that has been confirmed. Clobriel put a tweet out there that they are working on another game. I don't think it's Grounded 2. I think that it's Fallout New Vegas 2. The evidence that I have put forth is that, well, if you just look at what Bethesda's currently doing, they don't have the staff. They do not have another studio to work on what they're currently working on. They're finishing up Indiana Jones. They're updating Starfield. They have 2 DLCs they're working on. They're working on the Elder Scrolls 6. When are we going to get a Fallout 5? 2031, 2032? And if that's the case, and again, this is on the heels, C Money, of the success of the TV show, which the 2nd season has already been greenlit. People are going to be like going bonkers for something new Fallout. And granted, I know Fallout 76 exists, but it's an MMO. Even though it somewhat plays single player, there are still people out there that if they want to be D's, they can kill you and take all your stuff. I don't want to live in that world. I want to play a single player, story driven, narrative focused game. I think Obsidian can deliver that. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, can they deliver it? Yeah, for sure. I think the only problem we have is with that thought, and it just depends on scale and what you would imagine from it, is that like there two big teams are working on other games already, right? So Avowed is still not out, right? So I don't think they're referencing the team working on Avowed, and the other team is working on Outer Worlds too, right? So I think the only teams that are left are the Pentiment team and the Grounded team, right? These are the only two teams that we know officially that Grounded is done, right? So they're not updating it anymore. I mean, obviously, they'll maintenance it, but there's not going to be any new big content updates or anything like that. Um, so that game is a complete game now. Um, so they are the ones who, I would say are the bigger of the two between them and Pentiment team to go ahead and work on something new. Pentiment obviously has been done for a little bit now. So are they working on something separate? Are there 4 games in development because those 2 teams are gonna work on their own game? Or did Josh Sawyer, who, if I'm not mistaken, he's known for being part of making bigger games before he did Pentiment, right? So I mean, I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty sure that that's why he got his name. Like that's why his name was important because he's
Yeah.
worked on other stuff that was bigger. Um, so the only thing that would kind of work in the idea of doing a Fallout is if his team started working on it, like getting it together, getting like the ground floor done for it, like, and then now that the grounded team is done, now they're gonna join, that team and kind of instead of having a 4 game breakdown, they just work on 3. Um, and maybe they're the ones who are doing it. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if Todd, every time he has an interview and people ask him about this, he's pretty dismissive of the
He
idea.
doesn't like it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny.
he
It's
kinda
funny you mentioned
hates
that.
hearing
He is
people ask
dismissive
him that.
about it because he wants to make the next Fallout, but
Yeah,
his hands are
exactly.
full. Like I mean, he's
I
listen.
mean,
You can't
but he
deny.
also go ahead.
Yeah,
No, I was just gonna say about, like, Indiana Jones, right? Like, they have an internal team making Indiana Jones, but he's, executive
well, yeah,
producing it.
that's Machine Games that's actually making it. He's obviously I'm sure that there's people working on it from Bethesda. There's no doubt about it. It is Machine Games, but it's definitely something that he has his hands in. Like he is doing a lot, bro. Like
Yeah,
honestly.
he said it's the game that he's always wanted to make for Indiana Jones, like, he
Yep.
pitched it years ago, so this is clear like, he's clearly working on this game, on Indiana Jones, even though he's not the one sitting there, boots on the ground making it, that's what Machine Games is doing, but it's still his vision, right? So, maybe he's just doing that with another team, maybe that is the Pentiment and Grounded teams now working together, um I see people are talking about maybe there's another Pillars of Eternity coming in.
I mean, it's
Uh,
possible.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's possible too. I don't know, I don't know if Avowed taking place in that world.
I don't
Um,
know if that would make
s
sense,
yeah,
honestly.
because it
Yeah.
kinda like it feels like they're pivoting away from the Pillars of Eternity brand as a game and more as a world, right? Like those 2 games almost served as like introductions to the world, and now, Avowed is you know, the new pillar
Pillars.
game for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Right? That would be the franchise, I would assume. Um, but I mean, look, the beauty is this, right? We know for sure there's another game being made. Klober already said it, and just without him even saying anything, we know the Grounded team, they're amazing, right? We know the Pentiment team, they're amazing, right? They produce high quality stuff. We know they're going to be working on something, right?
Right.
So the question is whether it's just 3 Or is there a fourth? Is Josh Orr making another smaller type game? I mean,
Interesting. You
that
know
we
what's
don't know.
interesting? I have a breakdown for you. I pulled this from Reddit. Now this is from 1 year ago, and they have gone up in staff. So currently, as of today, I'm looking at Obsidian according to Rocket Reach, Obsidian Entertainment information. They have 312 employees as of today. Now, this Reddit post breaks down by numbers exactly what is going on at Obsidian, and this is how they break it down. Again, folks, this is from a year ago. Things have changed a bit. Obviously, they went from 280 to 312 as of today, so that's obviously an increase of 32 developers.
That's
It
like
says
another
this.
indie studio. You know what I'm
It,
saying?
it
That's a
actually
big,
it actually is, because according to, again, this is what they said on Reddit, they have 80 people assigned to Avowed. They have 80 people assigned to the Outer Worlds. They had 13 people assigned to Pentiment, and 13 people assigned developers working on Grounded. Now, I would imagine that the Grounded team has gotten bigger since it's obviously not, it's a full blown game. It's on multiple platforms. It's doing really well. They're consistently updating it. So I would imagine that their studio probably has tripled. They probably have maybe upwards of 50. Maybe they even have as much as 80. But here is where the rubber hits the road. And I didn't know this, and I just did. I found it here. According to this post, there are 80 other developers attached to and currently working on a new unannounced AAA RPG. This post was from a year ago. And
oh
now
wow.
and again, I did not know about the other potential game that they were working on until Clobriel, who just posted this, made mention of it. So they have 80 other people. They are working on this unannounced RPG. Now, it says here RPG, AAA RPG. That tells me that is not Pillars, because Pillars is not an RPG. Pillars is an ARPG, like Baldur's Gate, like Baldur's Gate 3. That is what it is. This is according to this post and according to what Clobriel is saying, is a AAA game. There on this post, it says a AAA RPG. Now, again, I could be wrong, and I'm probably wrong. Maybe it's my heart jumping out through my chest. I want a new Fallout New Vegas 2. That game is tip of the spear, if you will, in my opinion, for the Fallout series. And I think that a lot of fans of Fallout agree. And I think that's why when you were referring to Todd Howard kind of being a little bit dismissive about other people making Fallout, listen, what they've done with Fallout 3 and 4 and what they've done with 76, awesome. But again, for me as a Fallout fan, I love New Vegas is my favorite. Anything you want to add in conjunction to the new information I have provided you there, C? Oh, did he step away for a second? Yeah, okay, so he did step away for a second. You know, wow. Let me catch up on the super chats while we wait for C Money to get back over here. And wow, a lot of gifted memberships. I don't even know what to say. I'm a little taken aback by the generosity of fine folks of this community. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for it. The first super chat of the day comes from a very generous friend of the program. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, about yesterday's show, why is it they always separate ABK from Xbox and revenue in media? For PlayStation, they don't say if it wasn't from Insomniac / third party exclusives last year, it would be an abysmal for PlayStation. You know, Will, that is a wonderful question. I actually posed that question last night. I honestly don't know. I find it to be so perplexing. And again, no names here. We're not looking for a flame war when it comes to the gaming media. But the problem with the gaming media is clicks and it's engagement. And a lot of the gaming media, not everybody, because you can't put everybody under an umbrella. A lot of the gaming media uses anti-Xbox rhetoric so they can increase their clicks. And one of the things I find to be unbelievably frustrating is exactly what Will is asking. Even last night, there were people in the chat that were like, yeah, but the this is ABK and it's 56 points versus. Here's the thing. The last time I checked, the bank account, every time Activision makes money, goes into Microsoft's account. That goes into Activision's account, it goes into Microsoft's account. The same thing with anything Bethesda makes. It goes into the Microsoft account because they own Bethesda. They own all of those IPs. They own Call of Duty. I don't understand why there are people. And you know what it comes down to? The goalpost moving. It's to a point where it's almost embarrassing. Like if you're out there running with this narrative, man, I feel really sorry for you. It's one company. It's three different major platforms in regards to studios, but they're
Are we talking
all
about the numbers?
No, yeah. Well, somebody had asked. People keep trying to split the ABK numbers from Microsoft. Saying, "Well, that's just it's just dumb. Don't do it." So, Will, thank you so much for the generosity. Thank you for the question. We'll get back to you in a second. See, money. I just want to I want to kind of see if you have any additional thoughts on the new information that I provided. But listen, let me just catch up on super chats. Zach Riley has been a channel member for 4 months. So, Zach, thank you so much for the support. He says, some breaking news. Tom Warren is reporting Avowed is being delayed until early 2025. I think that's a good move. Yes, that's breaking news. I literally just saw it, Zach. Thank you so much for that. I actually knew about that. I want to say about a week ago. I sat on it because I didn't want to out my source. That's fine. Listen, they have so many games that are releasing this year. Am I disappointed? I'm disappointed with any delay. But at the same time, if the game needs more time, then it needs more time. What are you going to do? I'm not going to cry over it. There are a lot of games to play this year, specifically for Xbox. If they have one less first party, it is what it is. What would you folks want? You want a half-baked game so everyone can complain and shit on it like they did with Hellblade 2? Or do you let them continue to work on the game and put out this monster RPG that we know that Obsidian can do? It's fine. It is what it is. So thank you, Zach, for that. We have a couple of really big bombs here. Mash in the chat has gifted 10 Double Barrel Gaming memberships. Mash, welcome back, brother. That is a crazy generous of you. Many thanks from us here at Double Barrel Gaming for the generosity. Folks, please, if you did get one of the subs, thank this man. That is very generous. And of course, not to be outdone, Eris EMS drops a 10 Double Barrel Gaming memberships. That is also unbelievably kind and generous of you, Aries. Thank you so much for the generosity. And of course, thank you for being here as always. And again, please, if you did manage to snag one of the subs, thank these people. Again, we don't do this for money, folks. We do this for the love of gaming. And obviously, at some point, it does become a business, which is why Mrs. Boom and I consistently want to just keep pouring back into the community because of this kind of generosity. We have here Highlander 001, another generous friend of the program. Highlander, welcome back, brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, boom, you're wrong about Fallout 76. There is a passive mode that you can so that you cannot hurt or kill other players or the same to you. It's but still kill NPCs. I did not know that. I did not know that was like that's kind of like the safer seas for Sea of Thieves. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. Again, it's a big game. I've missed a lot of the expansions. Personally, I just want a single player story driven Fallout. I'm glad that they've done that. I'm glad that they have made it in a way where you don't have to worry about someone knifing you in the back. That's awesome. I did not know that. Thank you so much for the information, Highlander, and thank you for the generosity as always. And we have Ryan here who has confirmed also that Avowed has been delayed to 2025. And it's funny, we were talking about Obsidian, and well, that's what it looks like we're going to go to next. You know what? Let me go into my DMs and see if we can okay, so all right. Let me get myself together because we're gonna kind of change it up. I'm gonna axe the PlayStation stuff. We're gonna talk about it in more depth tomorrow. This is big news. This is big breaking news. I want to get Tom Warren's story in front of me while we await the return of C Money. But I do have a quote here from Clobriel, who's always man. This dude has fingers on the pulse of gaming for sure. This is what it goes on to say. Clobriel has reported Tom Warren reports that Avowed is getting a slight delay to early 2025, according to Clobriel. And I'm going to pull up the Verge article right now. It says this: I understand Avowed is in good shape. This is more a matter of wanting to give the game breathing room outside of a very busy period for Xbox Game Pass. Okay, I mean that makes perfect sense. Let me just see if C Money is back, and he is not as of yet. So I have pulled the story from The Verge. It was obviously written by Tom Warren, which, by the way, was in the chat last night during Primetime Gaming. Of course, thank you, Tom, if you're listening, for being there and providing some of your thoughts and your theories. I'm going to read verbatim, folks. This is what it says regarding the delay, the confirmed delay of Avowed. Ever since the early days of Microsoft's Teams, it was always been a better app for meeting. Wait a second, that's not it. Wow, that's weird. That's not it. I apologize, folks. The wrong thing is linked. All right, so let me go to Tom Warren, and I'll pull his article verbatim. Let's see. Apologies for the clicking. Like I said, we're just doing this live on the air. Here it is. I got the okay. Here we go. We're ready. Wow. No, that's. Hey Tom, if you're listening, brother, the article that you linked is not the right article. Wow. Okay. So look, it is he. What he did is he actually linked the Microsoft Teams situation and not his written article for Avowed. So you know what? Let's talk about it, folks. Let's get the chat involved. So Avowed, one of the bigger games that we're releasing this year, has officially been delayed. I personally have zero problems with it. Again, it was a quick statement that we read here from Clobriel regarding the article from Tom Warren about just giving the game more room to breathe. And one of the things that I think has become an actual problem for Xbox is that, well, they have too many games. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they do have a lot of games. And unfortunately, what happens when you have so many games in the pipeline, I don't think you want these games, even though they're going to Game Pass, they're still going to want to sell copies of them, even though they'd rather the sub. But I think what they're trying to do is to give breathing room, even if it's only 3 months. Like, remember what Matt Booty had said, that they were hoping their goal was 1 game per quarter. So what that does is, I mean, like anyone in the chat will admit, after 3 months, unless it's a game that really kind of grabs you, you play through it, maybe you do a new game plus, and then you move on to something else. For Microsoft, for Xbox Game Studios, they literally have so many games that they're working on that it's gonna be like a traffic jam. And I don't think you want all these games just stacked on each other, not giving each other a chance to breathe and to grow and for it to be played by millions of people. I have zero problems with this move. Let's see. The Don Games Point Blank says, great move. Avowed was going to drown this fall. I mean, that's a great take. Let's see. What are people saying here? Oh, okay. Zach Riley and someone actually had said something. I didn't. Wow. Okay. So Zach says I think it's part of his Notepad paywall thing. So it's behind a paywall, and that's listen. He's entitled to make money. How he's got to make money. It's a business, folks. I'm sure someone will pay for it. Someone will. You know what? Let me just go to the socials and type in Avowed delayed and see if anyone is reporting, so we can just because I'm not paying for it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be like a jerk about it, but yeah, I'm gonna go to Xbox Era. Those are my friends. I love those guys over there. So according to the story written by Austin, says Avowed may be getting a delay to early 2025, according to a new rumor. This was 7 minutes ago, folks. So it says this, folks. Avowed may be getting a delay into early 2025 if rumors are to be believed. This rumor comes the way of Tom Warren of The Verge, who shared what he has been hearing on his newsletter. And his newsletter is, of course, behind this paywall. He says this, according to the article. I'm hearing that Obsidian is about to announce an Avowed delay to early 2025. I understand Avowed is in good shape. This is more a matter of wanting to give the game breathing room outside a very busy period for Xbox Game Pass. Now, according to the article, the writer says this makes sense if it does turn out to be true. Xbox has an absolutely stacked Q4 filled with Game Pass content, including the colossal release of Black Ops 6. We will have to wait to hear from Obsidian to see if this ends up being true. But if so, we want them to get all of the time they need to release a great game. I mean, that's it, folks. So again, this is what it's behind a paywall. Like I said, I like Tom, but I'm not paying for it. This is information that it's going to be out. He broke the story first. People that are subscribed are getting it. I'm sure that there are some websites that are subscribed so they can go and they could use the information they get from this notepad to make news. Again, I'm not disappointed. Honestly, I just think that there are so many games releasing later this year. And you know what's interesting, folks? This is kind of where I wonder where I kind of gotta give smoke to Xbox a little bit. What I think the perfect Xbox world, ladies and gentlemen, at least for me, is their big tentpole titles need to find a proper cadence. Okay, so if I have to give smoke to Xbox, it always seems that the first 4 or 5 months of every year is extremely light when it comes to first party. Now, that is going to shift differently for 2025 because we already know Avowed is going to be in early 2025, January, February, March. If they can get that game in those 3 months, well, it's great because those 3 months are usually super light. We're coming off of the holidays. We're coming into the new year. There are not a lot of releases until usually you get into that late March. But if they can get it into February, which we've seen PlayStation do to great success in many games that they've released, especially their first party, at least it gives us a first party game. This is a banger, folks. This isn't your run-of-the-mill RPG. This is an Obsidian RPG based on the Pillars of Eternity, which I have no affiliation with, but it's a new IP. It's a new IP because it's a first-person story-driven game with choices that matter. And if you are an Obsidian fan like me, you're super stoked. Again, disappointed a little. I maybe a pinch, but at the same time, I'm not really bothered by the delay. So, see, you know what? First of all,
I
welcome
apologize,
back,
man.
dude. Listen, don't. Work is
Dude,
work.
it's crazy. Like all of a sudden, there's all these problems, and like I'm the problem solver, so I gotta
Well,
handle all
listen,
this
you're
shit.
the
Like,
owner
what
of
the
the
fuck
business, and you
happened?
have to solve the problems. Listen,
Jesus.
we're gonna push this the PlayStation talk out of the way, because what we do is we have basically a confirmation from Tom Warren that Avowed is being delayed until 2025.
What?
Yes, the story just broke. It literally just broke. It's behind a paywall. Clobriel has reported on it. Xbox Era has reported on it. Now, it's a current rumor, right? It's a rumor, and we got to be careful with these rumors. We know it got a lot
Yeah,
of
it
people
sounds
in
like a rumor.
trouble, but according to Tom Warren, and I want to read it verbatim for you, this is what he had to say. I understand Avowed is in good shape. This is more of a matter of wanting to give the game breathing room outside of a very busy period for Xbox Game Pass this fall. So basically, it's not because the game is in trouble. It's having issues. It's crashing. It's because there's just too many games releasing. Let's get your thought on the rumor of a delay for Avowed.
Well, so for me, just hearing this right now, um, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Obviously, I know the game's in good shape. They've been pimping it out every.
I
They
mean,
they
we've
have like
seen a
this
bunch of it,
weekly.
dude. Like we've seen a lot
Yeah,
of the
and
game.
they have like a thing that they're doing. Like they just announced it. It's like every week or every other. Like they have like a road to Avowed going on where on their channel they're interviewing different people and everybody's talking about it. So it's like obviously, yeah, it makes sense because there's so many games, and I think, fucking what's the name? Stalker kind
Stalker
of
2, yeah, November.
Stalker kind of
Yeah.
fucked it a little bit. Um, sorry for cursing. I'm trying to. I mean, Stalker being delayed is clearly the reason why this is happening. Because
I mean,
now you
it
have
certainly
all
could
those.
be a part of it for sure, because obviously that was supposed to be in September. They got moved to the end of November, right before
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
and
here in the
and
States. The
yeah,
20th is
and
now.
Avowed was supposed to be in November too, and it's kind of like, there's a whole beef with that. Yeah, I don't know. I am in my mind like I was really looking forward to Avowed. So I mean, obviously there's plenty of games, so it's not like oh no, we have nothing to play bullshit. Like
Right.
there's so much coming that it doesn't matter. It's just more of a personal like shit, like fuck. Like I wanted like I was this one I was really, really looking forward to. I guess we'll get some clarity on what's happening soon, and as far as the actual thing is concerned, because I feel like the fact that he put it behind a paywall is a little sus. Like if he thought that a bunch of people were going to know about this, or if this was going to be a known thing, um, I feel like he would have put it out there, right, to get
I
clicked. The fact
I
that
put it to this way: if look, you're a businessman, right? I'm a businessman, right? And I say I'm a businessman because obviously we have the YouTube channel, and it's growing. It becomes ultimately a passion project, becomes a business. So
yeah,
I understand why he has his paywall, which is called Notepad. I understand that. He's a journalist. He wants to make money. He has connections. He's got to make it. He's got to make his bucks. You can't argue that.
yep,
Um, him and a lot of other journalists, to start the year, didn't really, got themselves in a bit of hot water with some reports. In my opinion, and this is not picking on anybody in particular. This is journalistic, the journalistic community as a whole. My biggest problem with what goes on with journalism today, especially in gaming, is fastest first, right?
yep,
That is my problem. And anyone that understands fastest first, meaning that you got to get it out, I'm first, here it is. Even if that means that we're not doing, and I'm being facetious here, not accusing anyone of anything. I'm suggesting that maybe fastest first means that we don't do our due diligence to get all of the proper information to confirm certain things, to be the fastest,
yeah,
to be the first one with story X whatever. I'm not saying that's everybody in gaming media. That's not everybody in gaming media. What I'm saying is that really kind of hurt a lot of people's faith in some of the journalistic community. Let's just say that. No one in particular, but again, it just came off not in the greatest of ways. This
Yeah, I mean,
particular situation,
go ahead.
I'm not saying that's what it is. He's reporting it. He has sources. He has really good sources. There's no doubt about it. But again, right now it's a rumor, folks. Right now it is a rumor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's not like a an issue, right? Um, at all. Like it is what it is. There's, like I said, plenty for us to play, plenty for us to enjoy. It's nonstop over here on Xbox. I mean that, and that's the beauty of it, right? That's what it affords Xbox, right? They can say, hey, you know what? This game, it's not going to be ready early enough to push it forward,
Right.
right? Like that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to say, hey, Obsidian, Stalker got pushed back into November because they needed more time. I know you guys were gonna, hit the November window, but can you push it to September? Can you push it to October? I think that's a hard ask to tell people who are
Yep.
planning for a certain time frame to be like, yo, be ready sooner, right? And I think that that's something that Sony would do. I think that's not something Xbox is in the position of doing right now. We already know that Xbox just doesn't. They don't believe in the idea of forcing the hand, right? Like if they had a certain date that they're sticking to and they're keeping to their time frame, and then now it's like, hey, go forward to fill a gap because now we have too many. No, I think we all have to just understand that, when you're in a position of Xbox, we've heard it many times, right? Like Matt Booty has said it. It's all about like where does this stuff go, right? It's
Yep.
that's almost the new problem. It's like putting the pieces together to make sure that it makes sense. And you don't want to take away a game's shine, right? It's time to shine. Every game deserves its moment to shine, right? And they've done some questionable stuff in the past. Like I forever in my mind, even though you know I I love Halo, putting out that beta 2 weeks after dropping Forza Horizon was like, wow. Like Forza Horizon was killing it. Not that obviously it's not, because look at what happened, right? 40 million players is it's killing, it's crazy. But it did shorten Horizon's time to shine, right? Like even though people kept playing it, it still kind of took it out of the zeitgeist for a moment because Halo was what was going to be talked about for that time. So I feel like at the end of the day, the only thing that this can do is benefit the game, right? Because now instead of it being like, hey, November, we're going to be done, it's going to be like, hey, November, you still need to be ready to go, but now you have a few more months to polish, right? Now you have a few more months to add more detail, whatever you need to do to get this game in the best possible state, for the game itself. Um, but outside of that, I will say that I personally am just like, damn, I wanted, like, I really wanted this one. Like this one, I was looking
I'm not
forward
gonna
to.
lie to you. I really wanted this one as well. But if somebody in the chat says, "Hey, just pretend it's in your backlog,"
Yeah, I
you're
know,
not
I know.
you're not wrong. You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
and again, it's really as a just hearing it right now, that's where it is. Once it settles in, it'll be just like every other game that's not out yet. It just is what it is. Just kind of sits in the background. We're worried about, what we have right now and just
Just don't delay
the
Indiana Jones for the love of Joe. Please
oh my
don't do
god.
that.
Oh
Let's
my god.
and
Well, then
again,
just
don't get
get ready, right? Because understand that what is this going to do, right? People are going to spin this as a bad
oh,
thing,
of
right? This
course
is
they are.
the ponies are going to go in so much for your 4 big games a quarter
It's
or whatever it is.
You're gonna
Um,
see it. You're gonna
it's
see
gonna
it.
happen. It's gonna happen, and we'll be there to slap them up when they try. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, Xbox has so much. They have so
It
much.
does.
There's nothing.
It's still
This is not
even
a
if
negative.
no, it's not. You know what? Let them cook, as the kids like to say. It's a new term. Let them cook, right? That's what it is.
Let them
You know,
cook. Let them cook. And Halo did not. Let me. I see all this stuff. Halo got rushed out to meet anniversary deadline. No, Halo was supposed to launch with the Xbox Series consoles. It was supposed to launch on the anniversary of the console launching, right? that was where
The
it was gonna
20th
be. Being the
anniversary.
first
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
since the original to launch at the same time. They delayed the game. So let's not put your feelings on top of Halo feelings, right? On the reality is Halo Infinite launched without co-op because it wasn't the biggest deal to them. They came out with a phenomenal game that scored phenomenally, and it was
Yeah.
a blast to play in every way, shape, and form. There was nothing rushed about it. The fact that the live services wasn't ready, it's not that it wasn't ready. This is the first go ahead with it, and these people weren't prepared to have as much product. But Halo ships as a box unit with multiplayer and single player, and that was delivered 100%. No need to try to nobody rushed them. They gave them another year. That's not rushing. They gave them another year at a time where it
You
was
got to understand
important
how
to
much money
launch
they
with
lost in that too. They
yeah,
lost
they launched with
millions.
nothing. They launched with nothing. They had, how many marketing beats they lost when not lost, they still had to pay through it, and it didn't matter. Like they wasted the money because the game wasn't coming out, but they still had to do, I forgot what was it, the
Bro, they
cans.
had a Taco Bell, they had
Yeah,
Doritos, they had
everything,
Mountain
dude.
Dew, they
They
had
did
dude,
everything,
they
bro.
lost millions of dollars with that delay.
Facts. Facts. And I say that as understanding, like I'm a Halo dude. I'm not a casual Halo dude. Like I love Halo. Okay. Like I love it. That's all. I mean, you see it over here. I have a fucking shrine dedicated to it over here. Like it's like Halo's my jam.
You don't
So
see it because
uh,
everything's in front of me, but I have a shrine to Halo as well.
yeah, I mean, this is just the reality, right? So Halo hit 343 nailed Halo. Don't this crap about 343. The Chris Lee, the dude that was directing it, he needed to go because of his idea of what it should look like from for me. I feel like I loved how it looked, but I feel like they absolutely were in the right direction with Halo 4, and then Halo 5, which were, showpieces. And
They still
then
look really good,
Infinite
dude. Yeah.
Infinite looks great, but it's just the way they wanted to
A
go was
different
that
aesthetic as
yeah,
opposed to the other
he
one.
didn't wanna move towards realistic anymore. He was trying to move towards more of that, the older style look, but it's like, bro, the older style look was there because that's what the console could do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not because that's what makes Halo. But aside from that, nah, chill. Halo killed it. 343 nailed it, and even now you see they're nailing it time and time again on the live service front. But listen, Obsidian, they know what they're doing. Giving them more time is just going to end up with a better product, which ultimately, even though I
Features.
want to play the game, I want to play the game in the best version is going to be, right?
100%.
So
Yeah.
I'd much rather it get delayed. Again, we still have Towerborn, we still have Flight Simulator, we still have Indiana Jones, and there's still, if we're going based off what Matt Booty said, he said that there were still two other games coming out this year that we didn't even know about,
Right.
and we still haven't seen
That they
them.
haven't
That was
talked about. Right.
they haven't talked about. People try to conflate that with like the Doom announcement. Doom is next year. He
Yeah,
said
it's confirmed for next year as well.
this
Fable.
year,
Yeah.
right? He said this year. So we still have other games coming. So they might be looking at their stuff saying, listen, Avowed can just get some extra time, give it some more space. We want to, for all we know, they're looking at that game saying, man, this game is going to hit harder than we anticipated.
Yeah.
This game is going to be bigger than we thought. So we want to make sure it has, clear space to just rock, right? So it also has a great knockoff effect with games for next year, right? Games scheduled for next year, whatever they had planned for the early part of next year gets to kind of get pushed back a little bit, so they get more time, so it's kind of helps everybody, right? Um,
It
so
does. It's funny you say that because Giggity08 drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he is actually saying what you're saying. So he says this: 2025 Q1 Avowed, Q2 Doom, Q3 Fable, Q4 Call of Duty could be an epic year. You're not
absolutely,
you're not wrong. I mean those
absolutely.
that's the quarter. That's the one per quarter we're talking about. And that's again, you're going to get some in between ones in there, and you're going to have Xbox Game Pass that's going to just keep slapping as it
Dude,
has
that's
been.
crazy to think that every year we have a fourth quarter game coming into Game Pass for lock
Call of
with Call
Duty.
of Duty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like it's gonna keep getting bigger and better. Yeah, we got so much, man. We got so much. I mean, at the end of
So,
the day,
okay,
it's a non-issue.
what I want to do, C Money, is we have some more Obsidian information. This is
Oh my
this is
god.
yeah, this is a stacked deck, and it comes the way once again of Clobriel. Holy matrimony! This guy does not miss. Well, it turns out, folks. This is again, we're going to close out the show with this. Again, this is an Obsidian focused show. I had no idea. Well, here we
Didn't
are.
know.
According to Clobriel, listen to this, brother. Undead Labs has been working with Obsidian Entertainment to bring the shared world of Grounded to State of Decay 3, enabling a true open world co-op owned type of experience. And it's going to be again, it's gonna be focusing on multiplayer. So
Oh, so
Obsidian,
Obsidian is helping Dead or Alive. Sorry, not Dead or Alive. State of Decay 3,
yes,
to make that world a true shared experience where if you personally are not in there, the people who you do have that are playing there can go in and share that world and still rock in there.
that's what
I
it's
mean, that's
saying.
pretty dope.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. And you know what's interesting? This comes on the heels, C Money, of the coalition helping with Unreal Engine 5 and on Undead Labs. So Undead Labs is not only doing what they're doing, and I'm looking at the actual trailer from the event that happened in June, and people were like, no, that's not gameplay. I'm telling you straight up, this is
Of
gameplay. This
course,
game looks
100%,
that
dude.
freaking good.
Bro, I
And
can't I can't with these people. What do they have to release to prove to you that when they show you something on the screen, that's the game? Hellblade 2 looks better than
yeah,
when they were showing it to us throughout the years, and it's the best looking game ever. You cannot run around saying if Xbox shows you a game that that's not what it's gonna look like, because bet your ass that that's what it's looking. If anything, it'll look better than
yeah,
what they're showing us now. State of Decay absolutely had gameplay in it. They're just obviously taking out HUDs because it was a cinematic trailer that they were showing you, but they put the parts in there, man. Oh man, that game's gonna be phenomenal. Remember, they opened up a whole different studio at Undead Labs just for animation,
yes.
just for animation work. Right? It's a whole little studio that they made dedicated for animation. This You're gonna see things on these games that haven't been done before, because only at Xbox do they sit there and invest in all these different ways, bro. We've had nothing but proof of more investment coming from Xbox. We just had the Horizon Studio Playground open up another studio. We know Activision just opened up another studio elsewhere. We know they started working with 100 Star, right? Like they're just investing more and more and more. And now we have this third game that we know is being made at Obsidian. Like there's just so much, man. It's just so much
Is it safe to
gaming.
say, C Money, that Xbox has too many games?
I mean, it's a good problem to have. But they definitely have a lot, man. They definitely have a lot. I don't know if I can ever say there's too many, but there's definitely a lot of games to play, man. It's just so much. It's nonstop. Like if you are a gamer and you're telling me, man, this hasn't been a good month or a good year for gaming, then you I don't know what to say to you, man.
Look,
There's
you're
something going on.
everyone's entitled to spend their money. I don't understand why people like they come into your chat and they're like, that's why I cancel Game Pass. No one in particular, because again, we don't do the pile-on effect here. We don't do bullying. Listen, I'm not here to tell you what your value proposition is. That's a you thing. I know that
Right.
for me, I felt like I was clobbered by PlayStation when I didn't realize that I had the automatic renewal of the $160 that I spent for their service, which sucks, right?
What,
Uh,
PlayStation?
yeah, PlayStation Plus
Oh my
Premium.
god, I gotta go check to see.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting. I keep saying
it
Imma
charged
cancel it,
me,
but
and
I have to
I
go check.
considered calling customer service, but their customer service is trash. So I'm like, you
They ain't
know
gonna do
what?
anything anyway.
I'll just claim it on taxes. It's fine. It is what it is. That's not happening because that's been taken off. Now, if you, as an individual, whoever, no one in particular, feel that you're not getting your value proposition or your equal money parts versus game parts for Xbox Game Pass, I hear you. I don't agree with you. I don't know why you would think that. There's a lot of games to be played, and maybe not every game's a AAA banger, but you don't need to be. Has anyone played Dungeons of Hindenburg? My
So,
God.
so good, bro.
Wow. What
So
a
good.
freaking, let me tell you something. This game, play it. It is an indie darling. This game, I put it to this way, this becomes game of the year, not indie game of the year. Game of the year. If this is voiced, if this had voice actors for the characters, that is the only way that if I had one like little tick, I wish their characters were voiced because you don't have
Yep.
to read as much. But I'm going to tell you this right now. It is my favorite game of the year. I have now, again, the way
So
the
good.
game works is I'm on my 23rd day in the game.
Oh,
Not
nice.
so I'm like, because the way
Yeah,
the
you're
way
in
it's
it.
structured is when you're done with a dungeon, it has day night cycles. Every character that you meet is endearing. You want to know about them. It's so freaking good.
Yes.
What a surprise. And that was just a one game, that released
Yep.
in July. You have so many games that released into
Yep.
that
I'm playing through
service.
Flintlock, bro. I'm playing through Flintlock right now. I'm loving it. I went ahead like even like Flintlock. We did a preview before it came out.
Yeah, I know you were saying. I just
Dungeon of Hindenburg.
did not hit with me. Did not hit with
No,
me. No.
I don't know. I'm digging it, man. I'm feeling it. I got obviously I've been playing it. So obviously the preview we did was up to a certain point, and then after that, I did all that, and I'm way further now. It's really good. It just gets better, and the powers are really digging it. I mean, but that's the beauty of Game Pass, right? Like a game came into service that doesn't jive with you, and I'm
And that's
like in love
okay.
with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and that's the beauty. That's why the service works because there's something for everybody. And look, Dungeon hit for me too, and then Dungeons hit for you. We did an hour gameplay on it before the game came
Nice.
out, and but that so you think you're at 23 days. I know that our gameplay was just a day for us, so I don't know if they're all that quite long for the days. But just with us playing that one day was about an hour. But I can't wait to jump into that. I loved it. I would say that game when I first saw it, like the first time they showed it, it was always to me. I was very curious about it, right? Like I was like, oh man, I don't.
The art
This
style
looks
is so unique in itself.
yeah. I
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
very
this looks
unique.
good. This looks good. I don't know what it's gonna be, but this looks good. But I could tell you that even with having that kind of positive look on it going into it, I did not expect to enjoy that game as much as I enjoyed it, just from my preview time with it, let alone, once now that it's out, I can't wait to get to it. But I wanted to start with Flintlock because I know the type of game that that Flintlock is, and I knew I wanted to dig into it. But that when you play Dungeons of Hindenburg and you get the snowboard for that first time, like
Yeah, dude,
that
it's dope. It's dope.
yo, it changes everything. It's like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit, this is so dope." And
Yeah.
the combat hits, I mean, it's unexpected. Like, you don't expect it to hit so hard, but the combat is dope, exploration is dope, everything. I love the dungeons, the creativity with it. It's great. And then even on once you're outside of that,
Some of the
just
magic
the
that you get
character.
is really good. Like
Yes.
I just got a meteor shower.
Oh, man.
Oh, bro, it's dope. Yeah. Again, we're gushing
Do
over this game, folks. Play it, play it, play it, play it. Let me just
do
catch
it.
up on these super chats and we will get everyone out of here. Big thank you to over 400 people here. FYI, ladies and gentlemen, we are 73 subscribers away from 15K
Oh,
for the love
man.
of Joe. All you got to do is subscribe to help us get there. I'd love to hit it by the end of the weekend. We'll probably hit hopefully sometime next week. If you're finding the channel for the first time and you enjoyed the conversation, consider subscribing. 15K is going to be a really big deal for us because, well, that's a lot of people that subscribe to a little mom and pop kind of an organization like Double Barrel Gaming. But we have Jay Rambert drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, delaying Avowed was a good decision. Stacked full for Xbox. I can't wait until South of Midnight. Bro, South of Midnight is going to be a banger. That game looks so
Yes,
freaking
cannot
good.
fucking wait. Cannot wait.
I'm telling you, it's hard not to be an excited Xbox fan. It's just the roadmap is so stout. It's so stacked that you all you can do is smile. At that, I'm sorry. You should be smiling. Finally, we have our good friend Sith Lord drops a very generous
Oh,
$2 super chat. He goes on to say, "Delays suck, but it's for the best for everyone." Indeed, absolutely. They have a lot of games. Let them cook. And again, obviously, based on what Tom has heard, it's not because the game's in trouble or in development hell. It's just they have too many games, and I think that's a great problem. And if it goes from, let's say, for instance, supposedly November and it moves into January, February, it's a 3 or 4 month delay. It's fine. You'll be playing all of these other games. You probably won't miss it. I mean, I'm gonna miss it because I really wanted it. C's really wanted it. But listen, again, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us for a little bit over an hour. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Breakfast with Boom at 10 a.m. Tune in for that. Hargy Chinese going to pop in. We're going to really kind of dig deep into what's going on at Bungie, and more specifically, dig deep into what's going on with PlayStation. They are in a pickle, ladies and gentlemen, and more evidence has presented itself in the form of what's happening with Bungie. It's not good. 220 people have been let go. The way it was done was just egregious. Some people found out through social media, which is that's that's not right. I'm sorry. You work for a company. The company should be telling you, not someone, hey, DMing you and saying, were you laid off? Because that's what exactly happened, and that's just disgusting. Shame on Pete Parsons for his antics. Obviously, he's not the leader that they needed. I don't think he's the leader of the studio anymore. The big story that came out with him is that when he got the bag from Sony, he spent $2.3 million of that personally on some very expensive
vehicles, bro.
vehicles, cars.
Well,
And
like
as a
23
matter
or
of fact,
something
there
like
was a
that?
there was a female. I don't have her name. I have her tweet that worked in past tense for Bungie, and she said that Pete Parsons, just had her over the house 2 days ago to check out the cars, and then she finds out that she is now laid off, which
Wow.
is, again, I'll read the tweet verbatim tomorrow. I wrote that story last night. I have some more notes I want to add to it. Tune in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But Steve Money, let's say your brand, brother. You got a great show. Well, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me back it up. You have a lot of great content. You, the missus, the kids, you have a great show. You talk to developers. You involve the community. You have these big, epic parties where you have a lot of people from the community show up to talk about gaming. Sometimes you clown on PlayStation. Sometimes you just have fun. It's always great content. It's always entertaining. Talk about your YouTube channel, which is over 21,000 subscribers, PS, by the way, and more importantly, where they can subscribe, when you do these shows, what are the shows, and more importantly, where can people find you on social media?
Well, first of all, Boom, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, brother. You know I love doing the show, man. So first
Thank you,
place you
sir.
could find me is here on Thursdays at 12 p.m. on Xvlog Live, man. So love doing the show, man. So appreciate you, brother. Yeah, over on Twitter, you can follow me right here, See Money Forever. Um, definitely come check me out there. We have a good time. You know, we're not crazy slanderous on Twitter anymore. We used
They
to
have
be, but I
fun. They have fun.
yeah, I kind of Twitter is a weird place, so we still have our fun every once in a while, but Twitter is a weird place, so, definitely check us out there. As far as on the channel, yeah, I mean, we have, our YouTube channel is called On Point for Gamers. We do, quite a few shows. We do 4 shows a week, and, we kinda spread it a little bit, so, like, we have our Sunday show, which is called Morning Quest with Doodle and See Money, which is my wife. Um, and that's on at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Very, community driven show. Definitely fun, but that's at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. Then we do our Night Quest show, which is on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is kind of the reciprocal of the Morning Quest. It's the Night Quest. So, we bring on we bring somebody on the show with us to kind of rock with us, and we have a good time. Then on Thursday nights is the On Point Gaming podcast. So tonight at 8 p.m. we'll be going live, and we'll be talking about all this stuff, man. We're gonna talk about this. We'll talk about the Bungie situation, which is wild. And we got a lot to talk about for sure. But that's on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday nights, we have the night shift. Let's Talk Gaming. It's a Friday night show. It gets a little wild. Everybody's off for the work week, so sometimes it gets a little wild, man. It gets a little wild. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and that one we do with myself, Doodle, and we have Hargeet Shani who's on the show, and our boy Demo Flow Gaming. Um,
Nice.
so that's a fun show. So definitely, come check us out there. But yeah, I mean a lot of you guys we do see come rock with us. You guys are the homies. So if you haven't checked us out, you should definitely come check us out, man. If you like Xbox. If you don't like Xbox, it's not that you can't, because there's still people who show up who don't really care for Xbox, but who just want to hear, whatever they want to
It was
hear.
strange when they
Uh,
do. Like, why hate watch anything? I don't know.
yeah, like I don't know. Like they do it just to go into our comments and say things. It's like, bro, come on. Listen, we say it all the time. We make fun of the ponies, right? But like, understand that ponies doesn't equal PlayStation fans, right? Ponies are a very special breed. They're the ones who talk crap about Xbox and do all this stuff and cap for stuff that they know is garbage, but they want to make it whatever. PlayStation fan. I mean, we have PlayStations, right? I have multiple PlayStations. So it's not about any particular brand hating. I don't care about PlayStation like that. I don't care about Nintendo like that. Xbox is the platform we talk about the most, and we make fun of ponies when they do stupid crap. But
Well, I mean,
definitely come check us out, man. It's a fun time.
such is life, as they say. Real quick, Will Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional very
Broke
generous
boy.
$5 super chat. And he says, problem with delaying Avowed till next year, it was already stacked for games for 2025. Now what do you do? What do you do? Delay other ones coming out next year? Hopefully not. I think that the one per quarter does give you a little breathing room to kind of drop one in the middle of the two. Maybe it's a smaller game. Like Doom is going to be a monster. Fable is going to be a monster. That's probably your fall game. I think that there's a world where in the fall, that 3 month block, that September, October, November, or the October, November, December block, which is the last quarter, you can get in October a your Call of Duty, and you can, because they're two different games, meaning Call of Duty is a first person shooter and the multiplayer is, well, Fable's a single player game. I think you can release them a month apart. You can get one in October early, one at the end of November, maybe December. I think there's room to breathe in that last quarter where you can sneak two games in there, especially if they're two different genres. If they're two shooters, that's a mistake. But if one's an RPG, an open world third person RPG, that can live along with a Call of Duty shooter because it's totally different. Again, we'll see. And obviously, P.S. by the way, a lot of news breaking today regarding Gamescom confirmation from Xbox. They can have over 50 games there. Avowed
Yep.
is going to be there along with Indiana Jones and a bunch of other titles. We got some stuff from Greeny. We're going to be covering all of that tomorrow on Breakfast with Boom. Should run about 90, maybe even a little bit more, because we have a stacked deck for news and we have a stacked deck for panel members. So tune in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, for myself and C Money, we are grateful that you took the time to hang out with us today. And of course, a big thank you to all of the super chats and the channel memberships that continue to come in. The generosity is just unbelievable. We are humbly grateful for it. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.